Hello there guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 5 video on my channel. We are now in week 1 of the Series 16 #Forzathon Festival playlist series, where, surprise surprise, there are no Fords being gifted or rewarded to us, which of course is very coincidental given that the series is named after Fords. Anyway, we are in the summer/wet season of the Forzathon series, and in this week there are 60 points available, and we'll be going through the whole of the festival playlist, and I'll be giving you tips, tricks and tunes so you can complete these challenges and get yourself the individual rewards and work towards your season and series rewards. Even though there are no Fords added to the game this week, we do have a few other cars that have been added. So for 20 points this week we have the Renault Megane RS 250. Although it's a bit dull, it is an exclusive in Forza Horizon 5, meaning that in the long run it will probably be quite expensive in the auction house if people don't know how rare it is. So that is for 20 points, and that's been added into this Series 16 update. And for 40 points we have the Hot Wheels Ford Julie, that is hard to find legendary car, and I think it might be an exclusive, but I'm not too confident on that. It might be in the auto show, but if so, it is quite expensive. So they are this week's season rewards, and for the series rewards there are a total of 240 points available across the series. For 80 points we have the MG6 X Power, that is some form of weird Chinese saloon car. And then for 160 points, as a tribute to Ken Block, although I'm not sure this is how the developers intended it, we have the Hoonigan V2. They're a hard to find epic car, and obviously I would like to say, following on from my post the other day, my massive condolences to the family of Ken after his tragic passing on Monday. Let's start this Series 16 Summer Festival playlist with the Forzathon events section. Of course, this contains the weekly Forzathon challenges, the daily Forzathon challenges, and the Horizon Forzathon shop, where you can spend all of your hard-earned Forzathon points, which of course you can also obtain from completing Horizon Arcade events. First up in this section is the weekly Forzathon challenge, Built Wild. I'm fairly confident we've seen this one before, and I'm actually fairly confident we've seen all of the Forzathon challenges that are in this Series 16 update before. So like I said last week, we are at the stage now where the developers are recycling content. Would have hoped for it to be a bit longer. I knew it would come at some point, because we can't forget that it is the Forza Horizon 5 Playground Games developers. However, just over 1 year into the game is a bit pathetic for recycling content, if I'm honest with you. But anyway, let's get into it then. So this will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist, and 80 or 164 points depending on whether you own the La Casa Salguera house. That gets you double points in any Forzathon related event, and comes free with VIP. Chapter 1 of the Built Wild Forzathon Weekly Challenge is called Cover Car, and wants you to own and drive the 2021 Ford Bronco. This car can be purchased from the auto show. However, if you have played the game, you will automatically have this car in your garage, because if you remember at the start of the game, it was part of the 3 starter cars along with the Supra and the Corvette C8 Stingray. So as long as you haven't removed or sold yours, you will have a Ford Bronco in your garage that you can use. It will probably be pre-tuned to B700, because that's what the Forza team tuned it for the start of the game. However, if you want to keep it like that, that's absolutely fine. If you want to put a popper tune on it, I have an A-class tune shared under my gamertag Shylo 2017. Once you are in your Ford Bronco, you can move on to Chapter 2, which is the same name as the Forza challenge itself, Built Wild. This wants you to win the Baja California Trail in your Ford Bronco. To complete this, I'd recommend filtering your map to dirt events, and then heading over to the top left of the map, where just to the right of the Baja, in between the Baja and the volcano, you will see the Baja California Trail, which runs right the way through the desert. All you need to do is go here and complete and win that race against the Drivatars. If you want to make it easier for yourself, you can lower the difficulty of the Drivatars. It doesn't have a compulsory difficulty, so all you need to do is make sure you win in any tune for Bronco. Next up is Chapter 3, which is called GOAT, or Greatest of All Time, and this wants you to win any cross-country event in your Ford Bronco. Similarly to the last one, filter your map to cross-country events, but this time you can pick any cross-country event, so head over to either your favourite or just any random one that perhaps you haven't completed so you can get the accolades for it, and then you just need to make sure that you win it, and the same thing applies with the driver tag difficulty. And finally, to wrap up the Forzathon Weekly Challenge, we have Chapter 4, Conqueror, which wants you to earn 3 stars on any Trailblazer. Now do take note that this isn't a total of 3 stars, so you can't do like multiple runs of Trailblazers and get a total of 3 stars. You do actually have to get 3 stars on any given Trailblazer. So all you need to do, again, filter your map to Trailblazers and head over to any Trailblazer, preferably one that perhaps has a bit of off-road, because the Ford Bronco is of course an off-road car, and especially with my tune it is best to use off-road with the off-road tyres, so perhaps pick one where the finish line's like straight ahead and you just got to absolutely full send it, use all of the power, or whatever Trailblazer you think that the Ford Bronco is capable of getting 3 stars on, depending on what tune you've got on it. That wraps up the Forzathon Weekly Challenge. Of course you'll get 5 points and 80 or 160 Forzathon points for completing that. We now move on to the Forzathon Daily Challenges. There are 7 of these and they pop up each day at 2:30 PM GMT. Of course there are 1 every day and they last for 7 days each. If you do need any help with these as we progress throughout the week, if you think that they are bugged, you don't know what to do, you're struggling understanding what the requirements are, do not hesitate to contact me either in the YouTube comment section on this video, on Xbox or on Discord. I'm fairly confident that my details are in the description or somewhere on the channel for you to find them. If not, you can ask me in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to help you out with any of these challenges as we go throughout the week, but hopefully they will cause you no issues in getting yourself the points. Finally, to wrap up the first section, we have the Horizon Forzathon shop. Remember, you can get Forzathon points from completing Horizon Arcade, so you might have quite a few of these racked up like myself. I've got over 9,300, nearly 9,400 actually. If I hadn't spent a few hundred of them last series, I probably would have about 12,000 by now. Anyway, for 400 points this week is the Hoonigan Ford RS200 from 1986. Of course, it's an absolutely great car for PR stunts. It's also really good in the Eliminator. It's good for dirt racing and good for just mucking about on in free roam. And for 400 Forzathon points, that is a really, really good deal, considering that the car is 500,000 in the auto show. And if you don't own it, I'd highly recommend you buy one of these because it is really handy for completing PR stunts and various other things. We also have then the Ford Mustang Boss 302 for 300 Forzathon points. I'm not sure of the exact price of this in the auto show, but I do know that it is in the auto show. 300 Forzathon points, you could argue it's a bit of a rip-off for a C-Class muscle car. However, depending on what kind of person you are in Forza, if you do lots of online racing, this could be quite a good option for you to buy if you don't own it. And finally, we have the USA race gloves and the gold car horn, and I know lots of you like to hear what the car horns sound like, so this is what this one sounds like. If you didn't see that coming, then really I think you need to rethink. Moving on, we have the next section of this week's festival playlist, which is the seasonal event section. This contains the trial, EventLab, seasonal PR stunts and seasonal championships. The first event from the seasonal events section is the trial. Of course, this is a co-op event, meaning that you have to have Xbox Live Gold / Game Pass to be able to access this. And in-game, you also need to have unlocked the Hall of Fame. I've got a guide for the Hall of Fame on my channel, so if you don't know how to do that, go ahead and watch my video on that I made, and you'll hopefully have no problems in unlocking the Hall of Fame. And it is also, because it's a co-op event, it is a best of 3 against the driver tars, so your team has to beat the driver tars in a best of 3 race championship by getting points, and you get points by overtaking the driver tars. So every driver tar you overtake, you get 100 points, and the driver tars get the same for overtaking you. You just need to work with your team, whether they be randoms or members of your convoy, to overcome the points of the AI and thus winning overall in the best of 3 championship. This week the trial is called Blast from the Past. It will get you 10 points towards the festival playlist and a Ford Mustang S5. The restriction for this one is C-Class Ford Retro Muscle, so it can be Retro Muscle but it has to be a Ford, because remember it's Forzathon, and you'll notice that theme come up throughout this week's festival playlist, and is on road racing. Due to the restricted car selection for this one, with it only being Fords allowed in each category, I've only got one suggestion for this trial event, and it is the 2010 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. This is kind of a rear-wheel drive power build / sensible build. If you don't really know what I'm on about there, basically it's a power build, but it's got a Forza wing on it for downforce, and it's got a bit of grip. It's kind of a realistic power build. It's got just over 430 horsepower. It does weigh quite a lot, which kind of does balance it out a bit, stops it from getting too out of control. Of course, it does suffer from understeer because it's a muscle car in general, so you know it's always going to suffer from understeer. However, it is actually really fun to drive, and you won't really feel the rear wheel drive in it, to be honest, if you don't get too crazy with the steering. This week we also have an EventLab feature in the festival playlist, and this week it is by a guy named James Miata. I'm fairly confident I've heard this guy before from AR12 Nick's videos on the EventLab features that he does. I'm pretty sure he's a well-known Forza creator in the community, and a very good one indeed. And this featured event from James Miata is called Alpine Heights Race Day. Apparently it took 50 hours to build, so I'd highly recommend that you do see what this creation is. I can guarantee you that it will be good, whatever it is. And completing this will get you 3 points towards the festival playlist and a green pinata outfit. The restriction for this EventLab feature is A-Class Ford, and because it says race day, I'm going to assume that you need kind of a race build rather than an off-road or drift build for this one. I'm going to be totally honest with you, I don't really have that many Fords tuned to A-Class for kind of general racing. However, I do still have a couple. So the 2009 Ford Focus RS, I made this car just as kind of a test build. It turned out alright. It's not the best, but it is also fairly decent to drive. I made this tune A-Class 750 on the Ford Fiesta ST from 2014. I made that on stream once. We didn't really do anything with it, but because it's an EventLab, you might be able to have a bit of fun in this kind of lucky kind of dip build. And then you can take anything like the 2018 Ford Mustang GT, kind of any kind of general race build that you've got for any A-Class Ford, will hopefully be alright for this EventLab. We now move swiftly on to this week's seasonal PR stunts. There are 2 of them this week, and both of them actually have the same restriction and reward. As usual, I'll be showing you each PR stunt, its details and its requirements, and then I'll show you a little clip of me completing it. I'm probably going to fail one of them. I'm hoping not to, because this week they aren't particularly difficult, and I'm kind of glad that they've changed the PR stunts up a bit, because it's been S2 class anything goes for about 4 months, and it's been very repetitive. But thankfully now there's a change of scene, and therefore hopefully my bad luck streak will end, and I'll be able to complete both of these first try on camera, I'm hoping. The first PR stunt of this week is the Avenida Speed Trap, which is in Player Azul. It will get you 2 points towards the festival playlist and a super wheel spin, and the restriction is B700 Ford, but pre-1970. I don't know whether 1970 is included, but just to be safe, I've selected a car that is definitely before 1970. Like I said, it is in Player Azul, and the objective for this one is 130 miles an hour. Thankfully, you can use kind of this road here along the coast to get loads of run up, and hopefully then it will be fairly easy to complete. Taking into consideration the restriction for this one, I have selected the 1959 Ford Anglia 105E, which can be purchased from the auto show for 20,000 credits, so it's very, very cheap. Obviously, it featured in Harry Potter as the Weasley's car, which they flew to Hogwarts in. It's also Oliver from the Grand Tour, Richard Hammond's Oliver, and various other, obviously, cars. But it is a very, very fun car to drive. I've never tuned it before, but it is a cute little car to drive. So my B-Class tune features 305 horsepower, just over 800 kilograms, drag tyres, a Forza rear kind of bench thing, a lovely Harry Potter livery, and some upgraded rims, amongst a few other details. I've kind of made it so that it's got plenty of power to get the speed, but also a bit of grip for the other PR stunt that we'll need, because I'll be using the same tune for both of them. And I put it on drag tyres so that we have a bit of extra grip, but without taking too much PI up with like street tyres or something like that. Having tweaked the gear ratios on this tuner bit, I've managed to get it to do 144 mile an hour supposedly. You could probably do a bit more than that downhill, so hopefully 130 miles an hour should be possible with a 1 kilometre run up. The launch is actually really good thanks to the drag tyres. The 0 to 60 is about the same as a modern day Audi RS3, so fairly fast, and obviously getting it up to speed with the 7-speed gearbox shouldn't be an issue. 130 mile an hour is what's required. Hopefully we'll understeer, just get it round, and 130.3 miles an hour. Got it by the skin of our teeth, but nobody said that it had to be a massive way above it, and therefore that qualifies as a completion. This week's second and final PR stunt is the Riviera Maya Speed Zone. Again, same reward and same restriction, but this time it is a speed zone with quite a hefty corner in it just on the outskirts of Playa Azul, and the objective for this one is 100 mile an hour or 160 kilometers an hour. Hopefully this is where the drag tyres will come in, because they were put on for a bit of extra grip than the stock tyres, but without putting something like street or vintage tyres on, which would take up too much PI. Obviously we're going to understeer, drag tyres aren't made for the going round corners, however hopefully as long as we don't go too mad on the sending, we'll hopefully be able to complete it. So objectives, 100 mile an hour and full send mode. So we full send it into the speed zone, and that is if I don't understeer it before then. Full send it into the speed zone, we need to maintain an average of 100 miles an hour. So we're going to get it round here, tuck it right into the tree but don't run it over the other side of the road. Then hopefully get it round this corner here. I'm just going to use a rewind to try and tuck it in a bit more to try and conserve some speed. And hopefully, I'm hoping we can get it round 99.4 miles an hour. I reckon if I didn't get such a loss of speed before entering the speed zone because of that mad understeer, I would have been able to complete it then. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now, because hopefully it should not be too difficult to get an extra 0.6 miles an hour. Okay, and just like that, 101.02 miles an hour has been achieved on the second attempt. So thankfully I didn't fail all of them this week, and I technically didn't really fail any, because I was able to get it second time without any much hassle. Next up, to wrap up the seasonal event section, is the 3 seasonal championships. As usual, these can be completed in solo or in co-op. If you're doing them in solo, you'll need to drive or fast travel to each of the 3 races that are marked out at the start of each championship, and you need to complete all of them. And at the end, you need to have more points than all of the AI. If you're doing it in co-op, it'll work the same way as the trial, so you and your convoy mates will run a best of 3 against the driver tires, and you need to come out on top. The first championship of the summer season of Series 16 is the Midnight Muscle Seasonal Championship. 5 points towards the festival playlist and a 2015 Ford Falcon are your rewards. And the restriction is A-Class Modern Muscle but Ford on street racing. For this championship, I have got 2 suggestions. First of all, we have a slightly adventurous tune for those of you wanting a bit more of an interesting experience in this championship, and then we'll have a more sensible build for the beginners and the ones that just want to get it completed easily. So first up then is the 2013 Ford Shelby GT500, which is a rear-wheel drive power build with a bit of grip. So it's got 731 horsepower from the stock engine, but with a turbo put on it. It is reasonably heavy, and with it being rear-wheel drive, muscle car, all that jazz, it is a bit of a boat to drive. However, with sport tyres, it's actually not that bad for considering what kind of build it is. It's reasonably easy to drive, the brakes are good once they're upgraded, and overall it's a fairly easy build to drive for power build standards. And then the other option is the 2018 Ford Mustang GT, a much more sensible and relaxed option with rally tyres, Forza wing, all-wheel drive, just less than 500 horsepower, and all the ingredients you need to be able to quickly and easily complete the championship. The next championship for this week is the Scrambling for Time Seasonal Championship, which will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist and a number 5 Ford Escort from 1977. The restriction for this one is A-Class all-wheel drive Fords on dirt racing. Once again, I have got two tunes for you for this championship. The first one, the 2017 Ford number 25 Brockie Ultra 4 Bronco RTR, isn't necessarily a specialised dirt tune. It is more of a cross-country / PR stunt tune. However, it's capable of doing dirt racing as long as you don't send it too much. However, the specialised tune I've got for you for this championship is the 2017 Ford Focus RS. It's running rally tyres, it's running off-road suspension, 6.2 litre V8 with a supercharger. It's running full race weight reduction. So all the ingredients you need for a proper rally car, but inside the body of a normal everyday hot hatch. The final championship of this section, and to wrap up the section, is the seasonal championship Fording a Path, which will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist and a Ford Capri MK1. The restriction for this one is B700 Ford Classic Rally on dirt racing again. This time I've only got one suggestion, however hopefully it will be a good suggestion for you for this championship, and it is the 1967 Ford Racing Escort MK1. All of the Eliminator players out there have probably dropped their faces in bemusement right now because it is such a terrible car in the Eliminator that you think it would be practically impossible for it to be good in any other circumstance. However, I'm hoping that I've changed your minds with this one, with my B700 tune, which is running the stock off-road tyres with 250 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and pretty much nothing else apart from some brakes. The only good thing about this is that it looks good and it's got Eddie Stobart livery on it, which is never a bad thing. But actually, having tested it, it's not that bad. It does actually drive, it functions, it is 150 million times better than it is in the Eliminator, and it's actually capable of performing the task. And essentially that's all you need for this championship. Moving swiftly on, we head on into the challenges section where we have the Photo Challenge, Horizon Open and Collectibles challenges waiting for us. First up in this section is the Photo Challenge #Forzathon, which wants you to photograph the 1965 Ford Transit at the D'Otro Mondo, which is them kind of massive golf pitches, cricket pitches, harvest field, weird circle things in the middle of the map. And this will get you 2 points towards the festival playlist and an ice cream van car haul. If you happen to have multiple Ford Transit from 65s like me, you'll have to pick one of them, although that might be a hard decision, and you'll need to pick one of these two circles here, which are the D'Otro Mondo, whatever that is supposed to mean. So pick one of these circles, drive onto it in your Ford Transit, then pop open photo mode and take a photo of your Ford Transit in the middle of a circular field. Sounds a bit basic, but it's not as basic as it sounds, because it's very, very easy, and that is the Photo Challenge #Forzathon completed, and you'll have yourself 2 points and an ice cream van reward. The next challenge is Horizon Open Challenge Ford with Thinking, which wants you to complete a Horizon Open custom race in any Ford. So for this, all you need to do is essentially go over to your Horizon Open tab in the online tab of your pause menu, enter into the custom racing, pick any class in the custom racing and any type of racing category, and then just pick a Ford that you have tuned in that category and complete the race. You don't need to win the race, you just need to complete a race, and then it will be completed, and that will get you 2 points towards the festival playlist and a clothing reward of the green XS race suit. Finally, to wrap up the challenges section, we have the Collectibles Challenge Reach New Lights, which wants you to smash 50 floating lanterns in the Junus Blancas. This will get you 3 points towards the festival playlist and a Kino song, Nocturne. So we've had this challenge before, and obviously with it being 50, you have the choice. If you're in a Horizon Live session, like an online session, when you smash through it, you'll have to smash 50 of them. However, if you go in solo, you'll be able to smash through one, rewind, let it respawn, go through it again, and do that 50 times, and do that way. So if you want to do it in solo to make it easier for yourself and to avoid the risk of people having already smashed them in your online session, go ahead and do it in solo until you smashed 50 of them. If by any chance you're wondering what to look for, in the Junus Blancas area just below Horizon Baja, you are looking to be smashing these small lanterns. They are smaller than you probably think, and you need to smash 50 of them by jumping up on the Baja kind of dunes and smashing through them. Very, very simple, but probably also a bit time consuming. Next up is the monthly Rivals events. These, of course, need to be completed whilst having an Xbox Live Gold or Game Pass subscription, because they are online events, and both of them require you to post a clean lap to complete, even though they are different cars on different circuits. So first of all, we have the normal monthly Rivals on the Horizon Baja Scramble in the BF Goodrich number 14 Raha Latterman Racing Fiesta Ford. Quite a mouthful there. And then we have the Forza EV Rivals at the Emerald Circuit in the Porsche, where did I get that from? The Ford Mustang Mach-E 1400 drift slash thingy car. Both of them will get you 4 points towards the festival playlist, but that is towards the series. And then that'll be split by 4 to get 1 point added on each week. So you'll notice that if you complete them this week, you'll start with 2 points for autumn, winter and spring, because 1 point each week for both of them is 2 points. Essentially, to post a clean lap, all you need to do is make sure that your lap doesn't have an exclamation mark next to it, because that means it is dirty or flagged. You'll probably notice throughout your lap that it'll get flagged if you use rewind, miss a checkpoint, or hit a wall, or kind of something hard, if you hit something basically. And you don't want that. You just need to make sure that your lap is totally clean. You don't actually have to beat your rival, because that's not the objective of the challenge. So if it means that you drive around really slowly to make sure that your lap is clean, then that is completely and utterly acceptable, and will hopefully be able to help you complete the challenge. Finally, we have the Hot Wheels events. Of course, these are only available to those who own the Hot Wheels expansion, which can be purchased separately from the Microsoft Store or as part of the premium add-ons bundle. If you don't own the Hot Wheels expansion and you're still going for the 100% achievement, you might like to know that you can still get that 100% achievement, because it will recognise that you do not own the Hot Wheels expansion, and thus it will subtract the Hot Wheels points from each week's festival playlist, so that if you can complete all of the other challenges in the series, you'll still be able to get that 100% achievement. However, if you do own the expansion, you just choose not to complete the challenges, you won't be able to complete the challenge, because it will recognise that you are able to complete the challenge, and thus you just chosen not to, meaning you haven't technically got 100%. This week, the Hot Wheels PR stunt is the Treetop Speed Zone, which will get you 2 points in the Super Wheel Spin, and the restriction is the same as on the main map, B700 Ford pre-1970, and so I will be suggesting the same car, the 1959 Ford Anglia 150E. And the final event of this week's festival playlist is the Hot Wheels Seasonal Championship Speed Beast, which is on speed events. It will get you 5 points towards the festival playlist and a 2000 Ford Mustang SVT, and the restriction for this one is S1900 Ford. For this one, I'm going to suggest all of the S1 class road cars that I've got tuned, because hopefully all of them will be compatible with the Hot Wheels expansion. So they are the 2005 Ford GT, which I made for a PR stunt. It is a rear-wheel drive kind of power buildy kind of thing with the racing V12. And hopefully it will be able to be drivable on the Hot Wheels expansion. Then we have the 2017 Ford GT, that is an all-wheel drive grip build with just less than 700 horsepower, using the massive bench rear wing. And of course, if you want to download my USA livery, I'd be greatly appreciative. And finally, we have the Ford Shelby GT350R from 2016. That is one of the first tunes I made in Forza Horizon 5, but it is still going strong, running nearly 800 horsepower and 8 or 9 speed gearbox, all-wheel drive Forza wing, and it overall very easy to drive for beginners. Okay then, that wraps it up for this week's summer/wet season festival playlist, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support. If you want to see more of these videos, then please do consider subscribing to the channel and leaving your feedback in the comment section down below. I'll continue to be producing content. Hopefully I'll be continuing with these weekly festival playlist guides, and I'm hoping to introduce the Eliminator series this week or the week after. I have the first video ready, I just need to do the thumbnail and then it will be uploaded, so be ready for that one. And I'll continue to put out posts and polls every now and again when I'm doing content, and if I want to engage with viewers. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Enjoy this week's festival playlist, and I'll see you then. Bye!